Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about the types of toxic women to avoid at all costs. So, one of the things that I don't want for you is for you to get into the wrong relationship, because one of the biggest things that we don't do when we are dating is we don't qualify the person very well, because we can go out on a date with a woman and let's say she's 10 out of 10, just gorgeous, right, in terms of her looks. Sometimes we can be so focused on her looks and the way that we hope she is going to be that we ignore the red flags, and then all of a sudden you're in a relationship, then all of a sudden you've got a mortgage, you've got kids. The things can happen quite fast, right? Especially if you're not paying attention and you're sort of living on autopilot. And because maybe she's got all these other bad behaviors, these toxic behaviors, basically what's happened is now you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, and you're with the wrong woman and you didn't even realize because you just ignored everything, and now you're miserable, you're arguing all the time. You don't like who she is as a person because you got so transfixed in the beginning on how hot she was, and the passionate making love, whatever it may have been, that drew you in and made you fail to ignore the red flags. And a lot of people learn this too late. They don't qualify their partner long enough, right? So the best thing to do when you're out on a date, actually before you go on a date, it's important that you write out deal breakers for yourself. Like, what would you absolutely not want in a woman? Okay, so it could be a woman that's unfaithful, a woman that doesn't know how to communicate, who gives you the silent treatment, a woman who's mean and bullies others, a woman who's mean to you. You got to write out basically what you don't want. So when you go out on a date, you are looking out for these red flags. So then you'll know, even if she's 10 out of 10 beautiful, it's easier to walk away from her because you're aware that, oh my God, she's talked about cheating on her previous boyfriends. She's probably going to do the same to me. It's time for me to back off, even though it sucks because she's hot, she's beautiful. But it's just one of those things. You can't spend your time around a woman and invest your emotions in a woman that is just simply not going to be good for you. But, if you're looking for a certain kind of woman who, let's say, is a good communicator, who is kind to other people, who takes care of her body, you've got to become what you want to attract. Because let's say, just for example, you want a woman that takes care of her body, but you don't. Okay? That woman is not going to want to stay with you because obviously she obviously will want to be with someone who takes care of himself. Okay? So it's important that you become what you want to attract. And now that doesn't mean that you have to become a woman or anything like that. It just means that the behaviors that you want in a woman, you have to start developing in yourself, because like attracts like. If you meet a woman who is a good communicator and doesn't give you the silent treatment, but when you're mad, you give the silent treatment, you're going to make that woman upset. You're going to have way more arguments. So you need to be with someone who is like you. Now, it doesn't have to be 100% you're like each other, okay? It just means that the important core values are there. So, does she want kids? Do you want kids? That's a big one. You've both got to want kids. If you both want to have, if you want to have kids, you've got to find a woman that wants kids. If you want a woman that's fit and healthy, then you have to be someone who is fit and healthy. If you want a woman that doesn't give you the silent treatment when she gets mad, then you've got to be a man who doesn't give the silent treatment when you get mad. You know, you've got to think about these things. You've got to think about your own lifestyle as well. So if you're an early bird, right, then you like to get up at, like, let's say 5 a.m. and hit the gym, but you start dating a woman that parties until 3 a.m., then obviously there's going to be a big clash there, okay? So you got to find someone who's like you. So if you're an early bird, find a woman that's an early bird. If you don't like to drink and smoke, don't date a woman that drinks and smokes, because it's just going to cause unnecessary arguments, and you're going to prefer being in a relationship with a woman who is more like you anyway. Now, it doesn't mean that, like I said, everything is exactly the same. It just means that the core values are there. So, for example, you might like to hang out with your guy friends and play golf, but she prefers to go to she prefers when she goes out, she prefers to go out with her girlfriends to somewhere to go and have lunch. Maybe they're going to have a little bottomless brunch somewhere, and that's what she likes to do. That's fine, right? She doesn't have to play golf, right? If that's something that you do. She doesn't have to go fishing if that's what she does. She doesn't have to play video games if that's what you do. It just means that those core values are there, okay? So let's get into these toxic women that you should avoid. So you want to avoid cheaters. But remember, if you're a cheater and you've cheated in the past, you're probably likely going to attract a woman that's unfaithful. And if faithfulness is extremely important to you, then it's important that you are also a faithful man and you're loyal. Okay, so women that are also, so one of the ways you can find out if a woman is a cheater is just simply to ask about her family, and if her parents ever cheated on each other, or if she's ever cheated on any previous boyfriends. You can just sort of bring it up flippantly. You don't have to be like interrogating her, but just sort of find a way to like bring it into the conversation and ask about that. Just to see where she's at when it comes to those kinds of things. Okay. Also, another woman that you want to avoid is a woman that can't communicate and just gives you the silent treatment. And I've already talked about this a little bit, because it's gonna make your relationship very difficult if you are with a woman that just won't communicate with you and tell you what's going on when she's upset. Now, a lot of the time, you still probably may need to fish with a woman and to find out what's actually bothering her. Because women love to talk anyway, so it shouldn't be too difficult to do. But if something is bothering her, you then ask about it, because sometimes she may want to see if you care or not. And if you care, then you're obviously going to ask her questions and try and get to the bottom of why she's upset. And that's all you got to do. You just got to try to get to the bottom of why she's upset and prove that you care about her. Especially this is needed more really when you're in a relationship together, not so much when you're just dating. But it's also good to ask her questions about her life when you're on a date as well. It doesn't mean you just sit there and talk about yourself. Let her do a lot of the talking so you can find out who she is. Because remember, you don't want to end up with the wrong woman in a situation where you suddenly have a mortgage and you're married and you've got kids and you actually don't like the woman that you're with. So you want to be able to fish information out, but keep it in alignment with the deal breakers that you've got, or the things that you really want in a woman, right? Try and find out, use that list of deal breakers as a way to vet the women that you're on a date with, and use the topics of conversation to be about those things when the conversation runs dry. Okay, but only do it when the conversation runs dry, or if it's something that's really pressing and important to you. Okay, most of the time you should be having fun, light-hearted conversations rather than very serious questions. Okay. And if you want a woman to be more interested in you when you're out dating, then one of the best things you can do is when she starts to light up about a certain topic that you're talking about together. So let's say she's talking about her car or her cat or her dog, or her job, and she lights up and she's talking about it and she's getting all bubbly and excited. That's a really good conversation to keep going, because she's obviously really enjoying talking about that kind of thing. And you want her to associate positive feelings with you. And if you're getting her to talk about things that she likes talking about that are fun and interesting to her and makes her light up, then keep on asking her questions about that topic. So let's say she's talking about her car and she really loves her car. Then you can be like, oh, so where did you get your car from then? Or like, what's the story behind the car? Like, where did you get it? And then she'll be like, oh yeah, it was a hand me down from my uncle. Yeah, he got it in the 50s, and he's just made it all up. And now I've got this really cool vintage car. And she's like talking about it, and keep on asking about the car, because she obviously something she really cares about, and it's going to make her like talking to you because you like to talk about things that she likes to talk about. It's just one of those things. So another kind of woman to avoid is party girls. So many party girls cheat on their boyfriends and their husbands. If she goes out every weekend without you, yeah, bad sign, okay? So if you notice that this woman loves to party, it's very likely that she'll make a mistake in a club and cheat on you by kissing someone else, kissing another guy, especially if she doesn't go without you. Now, if you like to party too, and she's a party girl, right, then you can obviously go party together, but you have to be kind of careful with women that go party on themselves, especially if they're going to like those really kind of like grotty nightclubs. If she just goes out to the pub with her friends, or to like a sort of like a bar where there's not a lot of people dancing and stuff like that, it seems more safer if she goes out with, in that kind of environment than if it's like a grotty club where it's basically just like people are just dancing and like sardines on each other and grinding on each other, and it's just it's nasty. Not something that I would want to do. And I have been to clubs in the past, because the ex that I had that cheated on me, she used to go to the club pretty much every weekend. And it was, yeah, it was terrible. When I would go there, I just felt so gross. It was just gross. It was so bad. And maybe something about nightclubs in the UK though, I don't know. But it's just so, everyone's just trying to get laid with each other, and it's just disgusting. Might be a good place to pick up girls, but they'll probably be only good for a one night stand. Just, oh. Anyway. Another kind of girl that you want to avoid is women that are involved in drama, because if they're, and now this doesn't mean that if maybe she likes to gossip, maybe she likes to know about other people's drama, but if she's involved in the drama, oh man, yeah, you don't want that. That's just going to be, unless you like it. If you like the drama, if you like the fire, if you like things like that happening, then fine. But most of the guys, I think, like to live in a more peaceful, relaxed kind of state, and would like to chill and sort of kick back and not be involved in other people's drama, even though it may be fun sometimes to gossip and hear about other people's drama. But to be right in the middle of the drama, there's like people knocking at your door like, where is she? You know, she did this again. You're right. And also you got to be careful with like her family members. Like what if her family members get into a lot of drama and they're always arguing with their neighbors, or they're always getting drunk and all these kinds of things happening. It's like, ugh. You probably don't want that as a guy, right? You might do, but more than likely you probably don't. You probably want a woman that lives a more peaceful life and has peaceful family, even though you might not, drama sort of always seeps in a little bit in places. You can't avoid it 100%. But if it's always happening all the time, and there's always an argument every other night, and there's always something going on, someone slept with the wrong person, and someone's got a boyfriend that's knocking at a door at 1 p.m. and you have to go and pick up her sister for whatever reason because her ex-boyfriend's come back into the picture and is making her life hell. You got to think about these things, right? Do I really want to be around a family like that and bring my world into their world and their world to come into my world? You got to think about these things, okay? So try to avoid drama, girls, especially if you don't want the drama in your life, because girls who, women who have like a lot of drama in their life, they will bring it into yours. So again, you got to be careful about that. So another kind of woman that you want to avoid is a woman that has got a long list of ex-boyfriends. Because if she's got a long list of ex-boyfriends, it's more than likely that she is the problem, especially if a lot of these boyfriends are now happily married and got kids, you know, and she's sort of like the common denominator of why it's never worked out in the past with all these other guys. So, and also if you care about body count as well, then that's something else to consider too. But most of the time, like if a woman has got a long string of exes, it's usually because there's something wrong with her and there's a problem, okay? It could be that she's just picked the wrong guys over the time as well. It's not always the woman's fault, but usually it kind of is, like something's happened, especially if all the other guys are in happy, healthy relationships now. So it's just one of those things. So you've got to keep in mind as well what I've said previously about you got to be the kind of person you want to. If you want to attract a certain kind of woman, then you need to develop some of those qualities yourself. Okay, so if your life is full of drama, then it's very likely that you're going to attract a woman who has a life full of drama. And if you have a life full of drama and the girl that you meet doesn't have a life full of drama, then she's likely going to want to avoid you in the end because she doesn't want to have that drama in her life and she likes to avoid it, okay? So those are just some things to consider, and basically the types of toxic women to avoid at all costs.